buckle up because Cenk 𝗙𝗎😏 had a 25-minute meltdown. This meltdown from Cenk, which in effect was kind of reminiscent of one of those long Donald Trump Truth Social posts. Just grievance after grievance after grievance. I expose it all. I think this is a really important moment in politics with this utter collapse at TYT. We've been seeing these outbursts with, increasing frequency lately, but there's really something to mine here for all of us about how we stand up to Trump and this right-wing fascism. There's something for us to learn, man, about how to resist, how to make sure we don't end up where Cenk is. So let's get into it. Again, thank you guys. If you liked the video, appreciate a like. Drop that sub, share it. I mean, we got a lot of work to do and we're doing it together. Let's go.
But it's okay. We could have different interpretations of it. That's not an issue at all. We certainly are against police abuse and we've fought against it. I would argue at least as much as any show on the planet and perhaps a lot more. And I take great pride that Benjamin Crump, among others, said that Trayvon Martin would not have gotten anywhere near the national coverage that he did if it wasn't for the Young Turks.
Dude, what year was Trayvon Martin? That was 2012, okay? So dude, he is talking about what good he did, right? Trayvon Martin got all this coverage because of the Young Turks. That was in 2012. It's been 13 years. 13 years ago, they were like really leftists. But 13 years later, with the rise of Trumpism, they're like, can we renegotiate our leftism contract, please? Because we want some of that right-wing money. Oh, yeah, Cenky. Oh, please give us some right-wing money. Oh, come back, Poly Market. We love you. Dude.
And of course, we've had some disagreements on the issue of transgender rights. Let me just say quickly what my position is, because a lot of people outside of the network have been misleading you about this. So I'm for 100% constitutional rights for transgender Americans, because why? They're Americans, just like the rest of us, and they should have the same exact rights as us. They should be protected in bathrooms. They should definitely be allowed to serve in the military. And I happen to think that they should be allowed to play, transgender girls should be allowed to play in girls' sports in high school.
So one thing I do want to point out about Cenk and his transgender rights is this. Regardless of how Cenk feels about trans rights, if you look at his actions, okay, over the last year, his actions have been to be combative and aggressive with trans defenders in his own political caucus. So he says he has these beliefs about transgender rights in America. He goes on the right-wing shows and he doesn't challenge them at all. Then he goes on the left-wing shows and fights with left-wingers that support trans people. Now, if you really support trans people, even if you think some of the far-left people in your own party, your own progressive caucus are way out there, there's no reason for you to fight with your own people. If anything, you should be having discussions, trying to hear them out and see why they stand where they stand, and building a coalition with them. You should be fighting with the right, discussing with the left. And if the left give you shit about human rights, you should be taking their shit and trying to look at it, okay? If I'm talking to my kid and I say something and he says, "Dad, that felt a little sexist," I don't fight with my kid and tell him to get the fuck out of the room. I ask him to explain to me why it was sexist in his purview, because if they look at things differently now than they did when I was his age. And then I allow myself to see their point of view and to relate to it. Because if people I care about are telling me I'm doing something sexist, I believe that they're right. And so I want to look at that behavior. But he has people in his own party, people on his own network, people whose talent he found and hired, people that he respected that are saying, "Hey man, you're off the mark." And he's like, "Fuck you, I'm firing you. I'm not off the mark. And I'm going to go hang out with Patrick Bet David fucking douchebag, fucking disgusting, fucking bottom of the fucking barrel, Christian nationalist piece of shit. He's gonna go hang out with that homophobic motherfucker, be like, ha 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 ha, oh, let me polish your knob there, BBD. Oh, polish my knob. And it's very telling. You got to watch people's actions. And again, though, the way Cenk is treating this is just making him look like an asshole. You look like an asshole, Cenk. You do. You look like a fucking right-wing fucking geek.
Say that trans girls should be allowed to play in girls' sports in high school. 67% of Democrats say no, not allowed in any women's sports. So I'll work on my Democratic brothers and sisters, and I'll try to get them to my position on that. Nothing wrong with disagreements. And if Emma, Francesca, and others can convince 79% of the nation that is opposed to that to come over to that side, fantastic, happy.
See, here's the thing though, the way he said, if you can convince the 79%, but there was a time in America, guys, where 79% of America thought slavery was okay, but it was inhumane, so we fixed it. There was a time in America where 79% of the people thought women shouldn't be able to vote or have a job, but we fixed it. There was a time in America where 79% of America thought segregation was okay and a good way to live and good for society. It was inhumane, and we fixed it. So just because 79% of the people believe in something does not mean that that fight shouldn't be taken if it's inhumane. You know, saying because 79% of the people agree with it, we just don't take this fight. If we did that, there'd still be slaves out working the goddamn fields. You fucking dumbass. You're not a progressive, you're fucking gutless, bro.
I do think it's sad that even though they allow people like us into the fold and the fray, they refuse to learn from us or listen to us. And I think that when you have been doing this work for so long and you still cannot grasp the idea of intersectionality, how race and gender and class all intertwine with one another, and how the right, the fascist goal is to divide us based on these lines. Like, I don't know like who you are. Like, I'm not even, I don't even know if you're smart. You know what I mean? I don't even know. First of all, I don't know who your political mentors are. I don't know who you look up to. I don't know what your touchstones are. I don't know if you know your history in terms of like civil rights, women's rights, gay rights struggle in this country. I don't know anything. I call into question all of that. It sounds like you are just an opportunistic mouthpiece who wants clicks time and time again.
Dude, again, there was nothing bad in there. Like, I am struggling to find out what, dude, she did go in on him, but she went in on him in a respectable analysis sort of way of like questioning his integrity, questioning how he's arrived at these viewpoints, because he used to be like far, far, far left. And now he's no longer far, far, far left. But for him to get rattled by that, like, my God, I have had my kid give me criticism that is that harsh. You know what I'm saying? Of like, Dad, you need to fucking snap out of it. What the fuck are you doing here? You know, but the point is you grow from it.
Okay, so obviously it's getting deeply personal there, opportunistic mouthpiece.
Dude, opportunistic mouthpiece. I mean, Polymarket Studios? Don't you think, Cenk, that she has a point? You had loyal followers of TYT who built your studio, and then during an election year, you took a sponsorship for a company founded by the guys financing the opponents, and you enshrined their name. You gave the studio your viewers paid for to the other side for money. That's opportunistic mouthpiece, bro. Like, if you can't acknowledge that, that's a real problem with you, bro. I don't think you should be delivering political commentary. I don't think people should be entrusting you if you can't acknowledge your own opportunistic mouthpiece-ness in making that kind of transaction. If you can't come to terms with it, that's like Donald Trump saying he did great during COVID. No, he did not. We know he did not. We know you're an opportunistic mouthpiece. We saw it. You did it during the fucking election. And you can't acknowledge it, bro. So people are supposed to trust you to deliver them like news in their best interest when you can do something so obvious and you cannot acknowledge it? Like, dude, that's like a breach of trust with every TYT viewer right there.
Can't grasp simple concepts, not smart. But guys, and I'm not angry. Look, people have different opinions and they want to get.
It's like, I'm not angry. I just fired her because I'm not angry. Dude, oh shit.
But to me, the attitude that is toxic, and that's what I don't want at TYT. I want to build a community that is really open to conversations.
He wants to build a community that's open to conversations, but he himself doesn't want to be open to the conversations. See, that's interesting. I don't think you're going to be able to build a community that's open because you can't lead with openness. You can't lead with openness. All right. And you, like, if you were leading with openness, you would go back on Franny's show and say, hey, you said I'm not smart. You said, that I'm opportunistic. And you know what? I think in the poly market thing, I actually was pretty opportunistic because the company's been struggling and I don't know what to do. But I am smart. I think I am smart. I think that was like a little uncalled for and it hurt my feelings. And he could have gone on her show and told her to her face that. And then he could have gone on and said, well, let me answer some of these questions about my political idols and how I arrived at this shit. And let me tell you why my views are evolving on crime. And he, right? If he was open, he would do all that. But this motherfucker won't even go talk to Sam Seder and Emma Vigeland. He won't even go on their show. He won't go on their show. They threatened the Vanguard and those of us who make content about them that they're going to nuke our fucking channels. They're going to nuke the fuck out of us if we use their content. Like, dude, that's not openness, boss. That's like fear. Like you're afraid that we're going to put you out of business. And in fact, we are, right? We're going to put you out of business, a collective of people. You're done. Your TYT days, you're done. You can keep, getting money from the right wing and doing that shit, but your days are already numbered. You are cooked. So like it's already a done deal. Now it's just a matter of picking apart your carcass, your media carcass. But like you were not open. You were not open. So you're saying you want open, but you're not behaving in a way that is open. And if you really want to build an open community like that, you have to lead it. You have to lead it. You would be going to Sam Seder. You would be going and showing people what that openness that you want reflected in your employees. You would show them what it looks like. Okay, now I know you think you're showing it when you go over there and trash the Democratic Party to get, in the good graces of Charlie Kirk. But the problem is you shouldn't be seeking openness with disingenuous lying, propaganda spreading, degenerate motherfuckers. You should be seeking openness with your own people because Charlie Kirk, he's a liar. Those guys post content that is straight lies. All of the right wing does. They're eating the cats. They're eating the dogs. Straight lies. Every day, libs of TikTok, end wokeness, Charlie Kirk, Riley Gaines. They just lies upon lies upon lies. Donald Trump. All of it is lies. And so the people that lie and cheat and sneak and spread propaganda and have no scruples, you go and seek openness with them, but you don't do it with your own people. And that's the opportunistic mouthpiece, because those people over there that lie and cheat in the propaganda, you're seeking openness with them because you want opportunity. You want some of that money. You want to cash in. She called you out like perfectly. And you're too too little of a man to be able to acknowledge it and actually fucking, like prosper from it. And for that reason, we're going to sink your fucking network.
They refuse to learn from us. So the idea is, well, obviously I'm right and the only moral center of the universe. And I already told him that. And this guy wouldn't even learn from me.
Yeah, again, that's a disingenuous framing. It's like a child relationship, Cenk. Okay, you have more power because you run the network. And then Franny and all of them, Emma, they all learned a bunch of shit from you, but you're supposed to be learning from them. It's like my kid. My kid is 20 years old, okay? I taught him some stuff growing up, but he taught me stuff. When he was like 7, he taught me how to like not grit my teeth when I'm angry. He's taught me how to like not lay into him when he's beating himself up for a failure. And I'm really disappointed in him, and me like treating him in a certain way multiplied his experience of negativity. And in fact, drove us further apart at a time when he really needed me. He taught me that when he was like 15, right? He was a teenager who taught me how to be a better parent. That's the type of learning from them. It's not an absolute, she's right, you're wrong. That's coming from you, Cenk.
It's just such a deeply arrogant thought that if someone disagrees with you, they need to be re-educated. And maybe they haven't read any books at all. Okay, did she stop there? Of course not.
And yes, as I told Cenk, I do feel very implicated. I have felt implicated by their takes, specifically around crime and policing in years past. Definitely by this new heel turn since Trump's reelection, and absolutely by the misrepresentation of the Los Angeles fires and who the responsibility lies on. It is
when they blamed it on the homeless, the fucking cooking stoves or whatever. Oh my God, dude. And the black woman. That's what it came down to.
It is enraging, to say the least.
The Los Angeles fires are not the responsibility of the mayor. They're apparently the responsibility of Republicans, or I don't know. I don't know what her thought on that is, and I don't.
Dude, it just went right over his head about the Anna blaming it on the homeless and him like smiling and nodding. Fucking dude, cooking their drugs. That's what it was. A guy with the fucking spoon and a lighter started the Pacific, all those guys cooking drugs in the Pacific Palisades. Like, oh my God, dude. Yeah, that's what it was. It wasn't even cooking food. It was cooking drugs. I forgot. It was even worse than I remembered. Oh, shit.
Don't know why she's enraged by that, but that's okay. Apparently, I've taken a heel turn. By the way, all those folks, not just Francesca, but others that told you we're right wing, you watch the show every single day, you see us criticizing Trump and Elon Musk over and over and over and over again, telling you how they're gonna do a $4.5 trillion robbery in those tax cuts. Yesterday, we talked about how they're already, hammering Social Security and costing good Americans, what they need from Social Security, how they're going to cut $800 billion from Medicaid, how there's a series of robberies on the way, et cetera. But it's okay, let's just simplify things and say anyone who disagrees with us a little bit is a right winger. But the good news is, at least Francesca will not be implicated anymore. And I never understood that, because she's been saying this for a long time now, that she was implicated by us. Then why keep taking the check? And it's not a big check, and Francesca has had a career before us. She talks about that. Of course she did. And she'll have a career.
Dude, wow, a nice little fucking victim blaming from him. Like, dude, this guy is so toxic. And like, I don't think he even realizes how fucking toxic he looks during this thing. Like, he has no idea, dude. He thinks he is like landing zingers, and he, again, yes, him and Anna now, they're out in the open with this shit. They're making the public spectacle, and then they're gonna get mad at those of us who make content about this. But he's like so openly toxic. Like, why would she take the check? Why would she stay if she was misrepresented? I don't know. Maybe she thought she was gonna get through to you. Maybe she wanted to prevent you guys from going out of business, which you are most certainly going out of business. And probably because you should have let Emma and Franny be your main hosts. You and Ana should have stepped down. You guys are bitter. You're angry. You're not good at this anymore. You're not even pleasant to watch unless we're fucking shredding you, because you're just bitter and angry, and you can't go 5 minutes talking about Trump without getting into some anti-MSNBC, anti-Biden. Eventually you find your way to Obama fucking vitriol because you're defeated and beaten, and you've driven away all the talented people trying to be the kings and queens of this thing when you're just not that good. Like Franny's right, you're just not that good, man. Maybe you were 13 years ago when you were fighting for Trayvon Martin, but you're not fighting for Trayvon Martin anymore, Cenk Uygur. You're fighting for the billionaire land developer, right? You're fighting for Rick Caruso. Okay? That's what happened, bro. You're not fighting for Trayvon Martin anymore. You're fighting for fucking Rick Caruso. You're fighting for fucking Donald Trump. You know? And like, dude, it's fucking embarrassing at this point, man. It's embarrassing.
They're after us. There's no problem with that. So why, if you think we're collaborators and we've taken a heel turn and we're working with fascists, why did you choose to get implicated with us all these days? But good news, no longer implicated.
Dude. Oh man, bro, this is like watching a fucking car crash, dude. I feel like I'm just watching a car crash. It's like he's driving, pedal to the metal. Anna's in the back seat, screaming at the homeless. She's got a box wine that she's fucking trying. Dude, and they're just like, oh shit, they're about to hit that wall with the fucking Gavin Newsom portrait on it. Oh my God, dude.
Believe it or not, she did not stop there.
Line up until this point has been, no, it's at the collegiate level and above. I think once you get to the college level and above, that's when it's bad. So he would be on board with what the NCAA said recently. But you're so dumb. You're so dumb. I don't even know how to explain this to you anymore. Unless, this is the other option, unless you also are a transphobe. You know what I'm saying? Unless you also are kind of a misogynist.
I mean, dude, he is a transphobe. He won't admit it, but he is. And he definitely is a misogynist.
Because if you disagree with Francesca or anyone on that part of the spectrum, well, you must be a misogynist.
Well, no, if you do bits about celebrity camel toes, and then you only get along with the men in your network, and all of the women, you have these combative relationships where when they talk to you and tell you something, a way you should grow and a way you should listen, you can't hear it from them because it's coming from women. That's misogyny, bro. When you can align yourself with Maga, who are filled with misogyny, Charlie Kirk, all these people, and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna try to like partner up with them. You're going on Patrick Bet David, you're going on all these misogynist places. You're more comfortable in the dens of misogyny than you are in the dens of feminism. That's a sign. If you were uncomfortable around misogyny, you would be uncomfortable going into that MAGA realm, and you would be like dealing with them from a place of discomfort. But we've seen you. You're more comfortable sitting there across from Charlie Kirk or Dr. Phil than you are sitting across from Emma or Franny or Sam Cedar. That's telling, bro. It's like the writing, it's on the wall like Donald Trump's fucking Sharpie scrawl. You know what I mean? It's like, bro.
You must be collaborating with the fascists, and obviously you must be unintelligent. Now, if I had called her dumb, I wonder what her reaction would have been. My guess is nuclear. But I didn't call her that because we have a disagreement. We have a political disagreement.
Dude, he is so thin-skinned, bro. I mean, I saw somebody in chat said she's a comedian. She's being funny. She's being entertaining. She's talking to her audience and riffing as a performer on a podcast. She's not like, you know what I'm saying? For him to take all that shit personal, like he had somebody collecting that. Ooh, she called you dumb. Where's the one where she calls him a bitch? Is that coming up?
You don't need to make it personal. Not done yet. One last one.
Yeah, here it is.
What has it got you? What did it get you? When you go and share a stage with Dr. Phil, what did it get you? Nothing. You know why? Because you look like a bitch. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God, she didn't even call him a bitch. She said, you look like a bitch. That's not even, I thought she was like, you're a fucking bitch, Cenk. I call him a bitch all the time. But she was like, you look like a bitch. And you do when you go and you sit there and you wax the bottom of Charlie Kirk or Dr. Phil and you throw your own party under the bus. Like, dude, it does make you look like a bitch. You look like a bitch in this fucking rant you're having.
You look like a bitch. That's what it is. That's just what it comes down to. You don't look like a fighter. You don't look smart. You look like a bitch. That's just the reality. I've tried to tell it to you nicely. I've tried to tell it to you cordially. I've tried to tell it to you on your show, on my show, on every show. And so either you A, are a bitch, or B, you actually agree with the right. And I'm starting to think, in fact, I do think it's the latter.
Yeah, I mean, dude, there would never be a reality where I'm gonna go on stage at AmFest and be like, tell Charlie Kirk that my whole party is shitty. Like, bro, are you shitting me? I mean, we saw that. It was uncomfortable. They were even making fun of him on the stage and like laughing at him and shit. And he was still like smooching, looking for the fucking brown star, bro. Jesus.
Okay. So again, if I had called her that would have been a different situation, right? But look, guys, also on the policy or the strategy, when you go talk to the right wingers, first we did that, and I mainly did that, and there was a lot of blowback saying, don't ever talk to the right wing, but they won the popular vote. How are we gonna win back the voters if we never talk to them? If we don't win them back, we can't.
Dude, they won the popular vote by 1.4%, and that was mostly because a lot of the left caucus was fractured. 1.4%. Like, you think you're supposed to give up on human rights because of 1.4%? Like, bro. And what's more is you could talk to them 2 years from now. He was talking to him the day the election was over. Why would you do that? While they're making fun of Democrats, they're saying Democrats are over, they're saying we're fucking trash, they're trying to say all this shit, slandering us, and still calling people groomers and shit. Like, wait 2 years until they've suffered some of the effects of that Trump shit. Because you know they're wrong, goddammit. You know they are fucking wrong. And if you don't, then Franny is right, you know?
Never win an election. And that doesn't mean the far end of MAGA. It means the independents that voted for Trump.
And by the way, in Pennsylvania last night, in a Trump plus 15 district, who won in the state house? A Democrat. A Democrat won in Pennsylvania in a Trump plus 15 district. Cenk 𝗍𝗪, you stupid bitch. Paging the stupid bitch, Cenk 𝗍𝗪, a Democrat, just won in the special election. So maybe what you think is not. Dude, I slander Republicans all day, every day. Fuck it, bro.
Build something of your own. Instead of being destructive over and over and over again, how about you be constructive? And you say, hey, Cenk, I don't like the way you guys are doing the TYT network. And I see that you've had this huge success and you've given rise to other progressives that are now having success. And it seems like you helped to build something for our side. Well, you know what though, these days I don't agree with you. So I'm gonna build something larger. Guess what? I would love that.
We all know he will not love that. He will not, right? Dude, he is being destructive. I mean, dude, we know he's not gonna love it when they're larger. He's obsessed with his own capabilities as it is now. And not only that, but this whole thing, this has been 24 minutes. 24 fucking minutes of him just being a fucking douche. being like a guy with zero self-awareness, just ending a train wreck of fucking driving TYT right off a cliff like Thelma and Louise, except we're not rooting for the people in the car, right? We're rooting for the canyon floor. That's what it is. Dude, we're gonna fucking sink you, Cenk. You haven't officially gone under fully, but let me just say the new revolution of people, myself included, we're sinking you, boss. In 4 years, you're gonna be a fucking cautionary tale, bro.
This segment isn't just for her or to explain what's going on, but I do want to be clear with you. It's mainly to tell you what we stand for. Not just
what do you stand for, Cenk?
But as a community, we all have to be.
What do you stand for other than griping for 25 minutes because somebody said you look like a bitch when you go on Dr. Phil, which indeed you do look like a bitch. What is up, guys? Thank you so much for watching. You like the video, you want to support independent resistance media, you know what to do. Drop that sub, hit the like button, and please share it. And we do love our members, so if you want to become a member, it's another really great way to support. Thanks again for everything, guys. I'll see you next time. Let's go.